Yo YouTube, it's your bro Yo Elliott here, back with a new video after several weeks of laying off from YouTube videos, but I have been training behind the scenes, and this video is to bring you up to date to where I am in my final Form by 40 program that you've been following me as I do it over the past year. As well as to share something with you that I've been developing behind the scenes, and it's a big part of the reason why you haven't seen many videos from me, because I've been recording for this special project that I'm going to share with you in this video. So, very first thing, just to sort of recap where we've come over the past year and where I'm at right now and how close I am to reaching my goal of being, I don't want to say my most fit by 40, but pretty damn fit for a 40-year-old. And especially a 40-year-old who's an ex-professional strongman, ex-football player, as well as someone who has been suffering from injuries over the past several years. These past 3-4 years I have seen more injuries in my body than I've had throughout my entire career. So I've had to do things a little differently. And so this final Form by 40 protocol that I've been developing has seen some evolutions. I've had to make some changes in the way I do things in order to accommodate basically my new body, right? After tearing both biceps, tearing my Achilles tendon, falling on my head. A lot of you guys didn't know that a couple years ago I fell on my neck on a trampoline. And then I tore my Achilles tendon in 2016. So I'm not the same, and that means I've got to do things a little differently. And this year has given me the opportunity to try things out, test things out, experiment with a lot of things. And I think this is cool for you because you get an opportunity to see, number one, what it's like to experiment with a myriad of different training modalities, but at the same time also to get to watch me rebuild myself from decrepit, broke down, weak, and womanly to the type of body that you recognize me carrying in many of the YouTube videos that I've made over the years. So here we go. Now, earlier this year, I jumped right back into getting my most fit, thinking in terms of aesthetics, by bodybuilding. And I used this bodybuilding protocol for, I think maybe through June, July, and August. That's when I came to you guys telling you that I was going to do this. And it worked great. My plan was to get swole, was to build some mass, was to get bigger. And it was working. Only problem was all of the muscular imbalances that were associated with the injuries I had been recovering from for the past few years snuck right up and bit me. And so, even though I was getting jacked, many of the videos you guys have noticed, from this summer, I was puffing up, but then I had these big old hickeys on my body. And if you had been following, you knew that I was doing cupping, a lot of cupping around my shoulder and chest in order to alleviate some of the pain that was a result of trying to train on my unstable body. So a lot of the injuries created instability. When you've got that instability and you start trying to add intensity to an unstable body, the pain ensues. So this is going to be really helpful for a lot of you guys who have suffered injuries and can't seem to get back into the gym. Also guys who are reaching middle age or have been in the game for a long time like myself, who are looking for something new that's going to add to the longevity of your training capacity, rather than when you're 25, you can just beat the shit out of yourself, sleep for 2 days, and then come back stronger than ever. At least that's the way I used to do it. So what I'm going to share with you right now is the phase of the program that I had been developing post my bodybuilding phase. So since September, October, November, now we're in December, what I have been formulating that combines both my experience with yoga since 2015, as well as my over 30, right? I'm 39, almost 25 years of strength training. I really had to take the two and blend them so that my joints continue to still feel good and I don't have the muscular imbalances causing me all of the pain that was associated with hitting the weight straight, hard, and angular like I had done for many years. So let me share this with you and then I'll give you an opportunity to learn a little bit more. So what we're going to be talking about is how I have been developing and using a system I call hybrid yoga. And so, like I said, for the past 3 months or so, I have been developing this, and this is basically the plan that I'll be following right up to my 40th birthday, and you'll see how that'll all work out, what my expectations and goals are for that. Now, just to come full circle and to give you guys some context for what I'm about to share with you, you might be asking yourself, well, Elliot, why the hell would you want to do yoga? And what is this hybrid yoga stuff all about? Well, like I said, the very first thing is that I had suffered from a myriad of injuries from 2015 right up until 2017 that I've had to allow myself to heal from. And in all that healing, I also wanted to remain fit. I wanted to remain healthy. I wanted to exercise. I'm like you guys, it's exercise is meditation. Exercise is a way for me to experience and develop and grow stronger in all capacities. And the same is for you. So in order to keep my training routine consistent throughout all this time of injury healing, I brought yoga into my routine. Some of the things I experienced through these, it was about 3 years that I did almost exclusively yoga. And those of you who followed my channel for long enough, you know that I've been kind of like I've been on hiatuses these past few years. Mobility was another thing that I wanted to be able to improve during this time off while I was healing my injuries, is my flexibility, my mobility. As big, strong, and powerful as I've always been as a pro strongman and things like that, mobility has oftentimes been a challenge for me. And when I'm talking about mobility, I'm not talking about like old people being able to get out of the chair and walk up the stairs. I'm talking about being able to kick high, be able to move in a functional fashion that allows me to be as athletic or more athletic than I had been as a youth. Being able to have a full range of motion throughout each of the joints, particularly the ball and socket joints. I'm talking the shoulders and the hips. Allows you to be an all-around badass athlete. It is essential, especially as you start maturing in your athletic career. Flexibility, mobility is probably or definitely some of the first things that start to go away as you mature. That along with your cardiovascular capacity, strength happens to be one of those things that you can maintain for a very, very long time. I know some guys who are, in their 60s. My dad is one of them. Strong as hell. My dad's probably stronger now in his 60s than he was in his 20s because he was a twig back then and he didn't lift. So mobility. Number 3 reason why I chose to dive into yoga and then bring it into my routine as we do now is kinesthetic awareness. So kinesthetic awareness, it literally means knowing where your body is in space, having a physical awareness associated with where you are, what's behind you, how to move and how to proceed. So here, let me give you a good example of that. Christmas just passed, and this Christmas we're in our new home for the first time. I'm putting up Christmas lights, and I got to put up Christmas lights. I'm putting them up all over the house, like up on the top of the house. And in order to get them up there, I gotta climb this rickety ass ladder. So I'm climbing this rickety ladder, and while I'm up there, my awareness is super heightened because I gotta reach in order to put some things up on the wall, or I gotta like take things out of my pocket. And so all of that requires a tremendous amount of balance, focus, attention, kinesthetic awareness. If you want to be able to do stuff, right? Which, in our society is a little weird. Like, we don't need to do stuff that much any longer, a lot of times. And so we're useless, so you end up with a lot of guys that are big, strong, muscular, powerful, whatever the case may be. But it's like, what's the use of that? You can't even get on a ladder and put up Christmas lights for your family. So the capacity to do stuff, just for example too, I've been doing a lot of gardening, all the stuff that I've been doing around my house. I've been digging holes, I've been hauling stuff. All these things require stability, focus, attention, kinesthetic awareness. It is the function by which we all, as athletes, can do what we need to do. Number 4, it's fun and different. I gotta tell you, I've been lifting since I was 14 years old. 14 years old. I'm 39 now, so you do the math, right? That's like 25 years. 25 years of lifting. And during that time, I bodybuilded, I powerlifted, I did strongman, I played other different sports like football and wrestling, and now, and I'll tell you guys a little bit more about it coming up in another video, I'm doing jiu-jitsu and Muay Thai. So I've always lifted and used my body in a very angular fashion. I know how to do these things. I teach people how to do these things. I don't want to say that I've mastered lifting, but I know quite a bit about it, and I was interested in learning something different and something fun. And when I discovered the type of yoga routines that I'm going to share with you and talk to you about in this video, I immediately saw it and I was like, oh, that looks fun. That looks like something I want to do. Looks like something I would enjoy doing. And at the same time, it was very, 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 very different than lifting. So if you think in terms of like contrast, lifting is fire, yoga is water. They were just so different that I wanted to have that experience of the other end of the spectrum. So these are the reasons why I began yoga, and they offer insight as to why and how I integrated into my hybrid yoga routine. Now, before I move on to what hybrid yoga is and how to do it and share with you some of my routines, I wanted to mention a big mistake that I made that I sort of alluded to earlier, and that was doing yoga only. So I don't want to say it was a mistake because I was healing from injuries. I did want to dedicate myself to something new, and so I dropped lifting completely. I stopped lifting. And at first it was great. I was increasing in all of these capacities, but a lot of the things that I was losing was my power, my stability, my strength, and my aggression. Yoga is, everything in life is, everything in the 3D world, everything that we experience in this world of duality has its male and female parts, right? Like daytime is male and nighttime is female. Everything can sort of boil down to that. Zeros and ones, digits, right? Male, female, woman, man. Well, so in terms of that contrast, that spectrum, yoga is like real feminine. Yoga is yin. Yoga is more womanly. I guess that's why more women in the West do yoga than men. And so lifting, and I was going so hard for so long and so on fire and so masculine in my way of being, it's just my nature, that yoga sort of cooled me down a little bit. And it got to the point where I was a little bit too cool, where I was uncomfortable being so damn cool. So for lack of better terms, I was turning into a woman in a lot of ways. And it was cool. I wanted to have that experience, but damn, I'm a man, so I want to stay that way. So these are all the reasons why yoga by itself, look, no knock against yogis or people that do yoga and that's all they do, yoga specialists and things like that. I think you guys are great. Just like I'm a strength specialist because that's my nature. They're yoga dudes. They usually, if you look at the spectrum of people, they usually look a lot different than me too. I'm thick, bulky, hot. There are dudes that are, thin, pale, vegan. That's a joke. Not all yogas are vegan, but we're just different types of people. So those guys on that end of the spectrum will lend towards more doing yoga and things of that nature. It just feels good to them. It makes sense to them. Me, not so much. But I wanted to check out what they were doing on that side and give it a go. So I did the yoga, experienced it, thought it was cool. Not my nature to be about, but the value of integrating it is will bring us right to the what. How did I integrate it? We already spoke about the value of integrating it, being able to heal injuries, have mobility, kinesthetic awareness, but at the same time, power, same time, strength, the same time, not losing all that hard-earned muscle that you and I have spent decades building up. So what is hybrid yoga? Very simply, it's yoga combined with strength training. And I'll talk to you a little bit more about the type of strength training in a moment. Now, again, everything in the manifest world works on this duality scale. That's why people who say that there's no difference between male and female don't understand science. They don't understand anything. There's a big difference between male and female, and it's evident throughout all of nature, the universe, the world. Boop, 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 boop. Digits. So what I'm going to do here is share with you the contrast that's associated with doing yoga, yin, and strength training, strong yang type movements. So yoga is very circular and lifting is very angular. And so the benefit of doing the two, I'll start with circular for you guys, a lot of you guys are lifters, is that if you think about, first of all, your ball and socket joints, your shoulder joint, right, where you've got this 360 degree capacity, and then you can move forward and back. Look, I mean, the shoulder joint is pretty damn amazing. There's so much you can do because you got that ball and socket thing going on there, right? And you got the same thing happening in the hips, which is pretty damn cool. So, you know, like I said before, I started doing Muay Thai. I don't want to be able to kick people in their fucking mouth. In order to kick people in the mouth, I got to be able to stabilize on one leg, right? And have the ball and socket capacity to open my hip up, bang. Then I got to be able to take this leg here and reach. I got to get that knee up high so that I can reach. That's only available through these magnificent ball and socket joints. Now, what happens to us lifters when we focus on and only do lifting is that we just train in these angular patterns, right? Boom, we're doing this, right? That's one straight angle. Think you've got all this capacity, but we spend a lot of time right here. Or we spend a lot of time right here. You see my armpit stuff? Right here, boom, right here. Very rarely are we doing anything like this, right? I do some presses that I like a lot because they help maintain strength and size in the shoulders, but also work that ball and socket capacity by sort of doing like these circular movements with my dumbbells. But for the most part, we ain't doing that, right? And it's okay because we want to build that power in this direction, right? Football player, you know, this is not football, right? You get your ass kicked, bang, right there, that's football. So you want to be able to be real strong up front and do shit like that. So we get a lot of angular. What happens when all we do is angular movements is we start to develop muscular imbalances in the ball and socket that keep us stuck in those angles. So you'll see a lot, the body even starts taking on the form of that overly utilized pattern. So like say for example, I'm going to use an extreme example, but like guys who are newbies to the gym that don't know many exercises, they don't know what they're doing, and they just do a lot of bench pressing, right? And so what happens is, what should even look like a ball and socket on the side there starts to look real narrow. So the shoulders start rotating in because all the guy's doing is this, boom, boom, boom. So the posture begins to deteriorate, and as the posture deteriorates, so too does range of motion. So you may get guys who like, I know a lot of guys, a lot of my friends, they can't raise their fucking arm past this. They can't do this. They can't raise their arm up and do that. They get here and they're like, I try to tell them, put your arms up over your head. You know, they just can't. The shoulder doesn't move far back enough. It's too rotated this way and they're like this. They're stiff. So once again, you want to be a functional, athletic badass, you got to be able to move your fucking shoulders. And a lot of these guys, they just can't do it. And it's just because a lot of the overemphasis on the angularness of lifting. Yoga, on the other hand, like I said, I'm doing this right here. There's a lot of, I'm going to tell you in a moment a little more about the yoga, but there are a lot of round movements like this. We're doing a lot of that. Man, that has been so helpful to my unstable shoulder. This is my most unstable shoulder because this is the bicep that I tore that's now sort of deformed. And so, you know, I got issues. And so by adding yoga, by doing yoga and then adding it to my program, I'm doing so much of this kind of stuff that I don't suffer nearly as much as I was when I was doing straight up bodybuilding. Breathing and building. Yoga is a lot of breathing in coordination with the movement that you do. Lifting is too, but it's very different. The breathing in yoga is more circular. Once again, I mean, just think about the term again. We use circular and angular, but with regard to breathing. Circular breathing is, and you'll notice too, or you'll come to notice that when we do the yoga exercises, when we do these movements, we're inhaling and exhaling in coordination with the movement. So there's a steady flow of in and out. And the benefits of that are miraculous. Reduction of stress, increased focus and concentration, just the ability to coordinate breathing with movement adds to your coordinative capacity. It's good. It's good to do. All meditation has a breathing component. You can't meditate and have stifled breathing, because then you have a stiff body. You have a stiff body, stifled breathing, your brain is gonna fly away. You're gonna unground yourself. You're gonna be thinking about other shit. So being with the body through the breathing and the movement, we bring together almost like a flow, but a better term would be like when someone's in the flow or in the zone, right? An athlete who's in the zone, his breathing, his movement, and his execution are totally coordinated. And this is kind of what we're developing with yoga. We're allowing ourselves to come into this coordinated pattern of movement. With lifting, it's not much different, because inhale on the eccentric, exhale on the concentric. But a lot of times we have stifled breathing because we use things like the Valsalva maneuver. If you're really moving some heavy weight, you're gonna hold your breath. So, you get that little like. That helps produce interstitial, I think that's the word, interstitial pressure within the body. So it's good, this hydraulic pressure. Boom! That's how you're gonna do a deadlift. Boom! And you pull it out. That, as powerful in utility as it is, also can lead to a myriad of different health detractors, one of which one of my mentors explained to me, created in him a overly hypertrophied left ventricle. So it has, in the heart, so it has implications with regard to heart health, right? You keep doing that and straining, that pressure that you're creating inside your body over time hypertrophies your organs. And we don't want hypertrophied organs, we want hypertrophied muscle. We want well-functioning organs. We want organs that work well, and we don't want muscular imbalances. So beyond that also too, the body is the mind, and if you have circular movement and circular breathing, you're gonna move in a more flowing way. You're gonna think in a more flowing way. You're gonna be more free in that way. When you move and breathe in an explosive manner, just check it out. You're behaving in a more explosive way. Look at a power lifter versus a jiu-jitsu player. Just consider the two, because jiu-jitsu is that's why I got into it, because it's very much flowing. It's very much like you gotta be tender. You gotta kind of sort of pay attention to what's going on. You gotta breathe. Versus a power lifter. Just check them out, their personalities. Power lifter, blasting heavy metal and shouting and slapping themselves. Or when I go to jiu-jitsu practice, these guys are hilarious. They're so relaxed. They just sit on the floor. It was a guy that was teaching me the other day. I'm all brand new, so I don't know what the hell's going on. He sits down on the floor in front of me. He's like, yeah, all right, come here. With his legs open. I'm like, what are you doing? That was like a very vulnerable position to be in. Well, little he just took his time, grabbed my sweater or my shirt, whatever, it's called a gi. And before he had me twisted up in like a fucking pretzel. Tremendous amount of power to that that flowing capacity. Finally, presence and power. So yoga, with regard to its integration of breathing, body, and mind, you've got to be concentrating, doing these things that you're doing. They bring a tremendous amount of presence into your life, your ability to stay present, to be present. Being present has less to do. I know a lot of people are like, oh, are you being present because you're not paying attention to them? Being present has more to do. It begins with presence within. Where are my feet right now? How am I breathing right now? How are my shoulders right now? Checking in with oneself. And yoga is a whole checking in process. Constantly checking in, constantly checking in. Power, need I say more? When you lift, you just become powerful. And being powerful means being able to do things in a rapid fashion. You want to be able to sprint. You want to be able to jump. You want to be able to so I'm combining the two. You guys are getting kind of previews into a lot of what I'm doing. I'm doing jiu-jitsu, but I'm also doing Muay Thai. And Muay Thai is like, bah, a lot of punching, a lot of power. We want to be both. That's why we use hybrid. That's why I've been talking about hybrid all my life. That's what it's about. So finally, let's talk a little bit about the how. And so with regard to designing hybrid yoga programs, what we do, here's what's combined. Let me just share it with you this way. Strength without the stiffness. Strength without stiffness, strength without soreness means that we're training, when I strength train in this capacity, a lot differently than I do when I was just bodybuilding and powerlifting. So for example, throughout this lean hybrid yoga routine, I use 3 types of strength training and I rotate them. So number 1 is time under tension, which means I don't use very heavy weights at all. Because if you use heavy weights and you get sore and stiff, your yoga's gonna suffer, you're gonna suffer. You're not gonna get the type of results that you want by just beating up yourself in the gym with the weights and then trying to do yoga. Because the yoga that I'm gonna share with you in a moment is challenging, it's tough. You gotta be able to maintain your capacity, and if you're sore and you're stiff, you're not gonna be able to do that. By working time under tension, by squeezing, and what we wanna do when we squeeze is create something called irradiation, where by squeezing our hands, particularly when we're using barbells and dumbbells, we activate more muscle. We wanna turn on as most muscle as possible, right? The more you squeeze, just pay attention when you start getting lazy, when you're lifting, your hands start getting a little weak and lazy with your hands. That's a problem. Or people who've got weak hands, they use straps. Now, my back can pull a whole lot, but their hands can't, because they're not turning on as much muscle as possible or as would be available as if they squeeze their hands. Squeezing the hands and working through a longer tempo for less reps. So what I like to call this first routine that I'm describing to you as it's used in the hybrid yoga program, I call 5s. Because the reps, you might go about 5 seconds up, 5 seconds down with the tempo, and we're only doing about 5 reps per exercise. So therefore, we're stimulating the nervous system so that strength is retained, maintained, and may even be built, depending on the person. But again, it's done in this fashion so that we don't get sore. The second type of lifting in hybrid yoga that allows us to get the strength without the stiffness is what I call 10s. And with 10s, we're not going very heavy at all. We're not using the typical bodybuilding, 75, 80% with the 10s. We're going a little bit lighter than that, but we're moving the weight fast. Bang, bang. And what that does is it allows you to stay fast. We want to build those fast twitch muscle fibers. Yoga is a lot of slow twitch movement, slow twitch muscle fibers. I was getting slow doing yoga only, so I had to add in some fast stuff. With the 10s, you can also do jumps. I do a lot of sprints. The whole idea is that you want to be able to maintain your rapid movement capacity, your power. You want to lose your power. So we got 5s, we got 10s, and then we also have 20s. 20s are closer to bodybuilding, but with 20s, the way we do it is a lot more like yoga. So like the 20s is like yoga bodybuilding, because what we're gonna do is we're gonna go light again. Notice none of these I'm using heavy weights. I haven't been using heavy weights since probably over a year. Because when I started with the bodybuilding in June and July, I was doing 20s, 25s, I was doing 100 rep sets. So I was going pretty light. But you know, not bad for not lifting heavy. There are a myriad of other things that I'm doing also too to keep myself lean. I'll talk to you about that later, but you don't need to go heavy. So now, the way I'm speaking to you guys, you're familiar with, because you lift. That's what you guys are into. That's what I'm into. This is our language. We vibe on that. Yoga, I don't have a yoga language. I'm not a yoga instructor. I'm not going to be teaching yoga. I don't expect you guys to understand yoga vernacular. I love yoga, but it's not, it won't be my expertise. And so what I had been doing is following various different power yoga flows. So there are some programs, I was buying DVDs, I was watching some videos online, and what I found works best for me is follow along yoga flows. And so by combining the strength training with the yoga flows, and these yoga flows, I choose to support my strength training. Meaning, if I'm going to do a particular body part on my strength training day, I'm going to do a yoga flow that either supports recovering from that lift or pushes me further into that type of lift. So I want to get more stimulation. So for example, you know, I have a yoga flow that's called strength flow, and there's a lot of pressing, a lot of push-ups. And so you know, I may do pushing during my lifting day, but then I'll do yoga flow strength the next day. You see where I'm going with it? And by that, I also want to allude to the fact that they're periodized. So what I've done was I've taken my favorite yoga flows along with my 5s, 10s, and 20s lifting protocols and blended them together in a 100-day program. So they repeat, you know, you go through a week, and then the week repeats itself until I start to change things from month to month. You'll know a little bit more about what I'm talking about in a moment. So yoga plus strength training, hybrid yoga, be strong, be athletic, be powerful, be a badass, but at the same time, you get to have that flexibility, mobility, presence, and it's fun and different. And if you're interested in the things that I'm talking about, and you're looking for a routine that's fun and different for 2019, then continue to watch this video, and I'm going to give you a bit more as to what my hybrid yoga routine looks like. And that way you have an opportunity to either just copy what I'm sharing with you here and try it out on your own, or invest in something brand new that I'm bringing to you right now. So here is the 100-day hybrid yoga challenge program that I put together, and I'd like to share with you guys here. As you can see, we're beginning with the periodization. It's 100 days, and throughout these 100 days, there are a series of yoga programs that you're going to follow. These are follow-along yoga programs. I'll show you in a moment. So you don't need to know how to do yoga. Like I said, I'm not interested in becoming a yoga expert, but I went through a series of different workouts that I like, that I wanted to share with you guys, and then also make it super easy that you can follow along with me. Like I said, I'll show you that later. But anyway, as you can see, the first 2 weeks is it's a focus mainly on yoga. We're not doing anything else. There's no lift. But then throughout the next few weeks, you'll notice that we've got the 5s, like I mentioned before, the 10s, and the 20s. So we're lifting 3 times a week, and then we're doing yoga 1, 2, 3, 4 times a week. And that sort of repeats itself through a series of weeks until we do a deload, so on and so forth. So there you have it in terms of periodization and the challenge, 100 days going through this yoga and strength training hybrid program. So what you're looking at right now is actually inside the membership area of the product that I created, Lean Hybrid Yoga, that teaches you all of these things. And so I'm just going to flip through here a little bit. You got a chance to see the calendar. This video here breaks down, just teaches you about gives you sort of an overview of everything within the program. And so when you get in here, you can click and watch that. Let me scroll through. I don't know if it helps. But anyway, yep. So there's that video. Also, when you click the membership site area, you'll see all the videos associated with the program. And so let me show you very quickly, like what these yoga videos look like and why I hadn't been making YouTube videos, because these took a lot of time and energy to create. So what you can do is you click the button, it opens up a video. You can download these videos by clicking here. There's also two videos. I put one with music and one without music because some people don't want to have the music. And so to sort of show you guys what's going on, you may not be able to hear the audio from my computer, but everything I'm doing, I'm describing how I'm doing it, what I'm doing, and carrying you through it. So these are follow along videos. Boom. Boom. So you don't need to know yoga. You just follow Yo Elliott and he'll take you through these yoga routines. Look at that. Yoga strength. And as you notice on the challenge calendar, there's hybrid yoga, cardio yoga, strength yoga, balance yoga, yin yoga, back bend flow, and mountain pose. And so we rotate through these, each one of them, you get to follow along with me. Then there is the intro to lifting. And this may look a little bit more what you're used to seeing from me. And so this is the intro. I tell you a little bit more about what's going to happen in this video or in that series. I go over each of the parameters associated with doing 5s, 10s, and 20s, so on and so forth. And the exercises that I recommend. So you get everything in terms of the yoga flows plus the workouts, how to do them, what to do, legs, posterior chain, core, all of that's included. Let me also go back up here where I think it's important for you to see. We have a how to do the program. So you'll see a little bit about the lifting, how to do lifting. I got some parameters in there. I'm basically just sharing this all here with you guys. If you're interested, you can kind of see what I'm doing here and you can copy. I don't mind. And let's see. Also within the PDF area, each one of these you'll notice there's a PDF for each week through for each one of the different phases right up through day 100. And the way these look are gives you the strength training routine and then also which yoga to follow. So you've got the calendar and you also have this here that kind of guides you through the program. So this is what I've been working on. This is what I've been doing. This is what I've been creating for you guys over the past couple of weeks. As you'll notice here on the left hand side, I also have some videos about fasting, hybrid lifestyle, and cardio that I include in the program because I wanted to keep getting leaner. Between the fasting, the lifestyle, and the cardio, I have been feeling, looking, and being at my best following my lean hybrid yoga program. So if this is something that you're interested in, like I said, it's something you can use the information that I gave to you just now to create your own. But if you want to use my follow along programs, you want to do our 100-day program, you might want to go to the website that is listed above here, or you can probably click on down below. Let me see if I'm showing you this properly. Yeah, you can go to strengthcamp.co/lean hybrid yoga challenge or use the link that I put down below. But just to give you if you go to the website, you'll see all of this. But just to show you really quickly what you get, they're all videos. And like I said, they're all follow along, the weight training manual, weightlifting videos, how to use the program, how to use a hybrid challenge calendar. You could spend some time reading this. If this is something that's interesting to you, take your time and read the website, see if it's a good fit for you, if you're up for the challenge. And we have it on sale just this week, so you'll pay a little bit less than you would if it was, not during the launch. Like I said, I just released this. So that's it, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you gained something from the information I shared with you. I hope you gained something from my experiences. And I hope that if you're interested in following the Lean Hybrid Yoga 100-Day Challenge, that you choose to do it with me and in our program. And I will be there to support you through this 100 days, as I'll be doing frequent Skype or Zoom meetings to do Q&As to make sure everybody's getting what they signed up for through this hybrid yoga program. So that's it. I'll be back with some new videos coming up with some of the new things that I've been developing and want to share with you. And I look forward to speaking to you again soon. Done.